5 signs of love bombing. Number 1, they tell you the most beautiful compliments. They love you so much. You're the best thing they've ever seen, the best thing that's ever happened to them. 2, they lavish you with tons of gifts or trips. Number 3, they are quick to have you commit. Very, very quick. Move in with me. Let's get into a relationship. I love you very early on. 4, they mirror your desires, your hopes, your dreams, everything that you've ever looked for in the future. They make sure to have very similar ones, so you're thinking completely compatible.
Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna have to go ahead and sort of disagree with you there.
Well, you read it here first, gentlemen and gents. If you don't give enough compliments to a woman, you're emotionally unintelligent. If you pay them too many compliments, then you're love bombing. If you don't book them trips and constantly flying them out and buying them gifts, then you're a dusty. However, if you do any of these things, you're love bombing. If a man doesn't offer to pay a modern woman's rent within 3 months of dating, then he's not a real man. But if he proposes they move in together, then he's just a moron. And finally, if a man shows absolutely no interest in a woman's life, then he's a covert narcissist. But if he does have similar goals and lives a comparable lifestyle, then he's clearly love bombing. So it just goes to show that no matter what you do, no matter what you say, you as the man will always be wrong, and these broads are just looking for excuses to be miserable now.
Number 5, they start isolating you. It's so little, it's like a little prick at first, but they quickly start isolating you and making you feel like, wait a second, is that person really my friend? Hold on, they said that we should take it slow, but I met the love of my life. Why would I take it slow? And slowly they start telling you, see, that person doesn't like me. Why are you gonna hang around them?
Idiots! It's simple!
So, boundary setting. If a man sets boundaries with his woman, then it's love bombing. There's nothing wrong with a man expressing his concerns over a woman's friends, especially when you take the time to consider how modern women view friendship. This is a world where psychological cement shoes, mind games, and passive-aggressive plotting are always on tap. These women will start wars over cheesecake, for crying out loud. So imagine what they'd be willing to do to a man if he's making one of these chicks happy. They operate under the hive mind philosophy that misery loves company, and that if one person in the group is happy with a relationship, then it's somehow an affront to humanity and she must be brought back down to the group's level. Why else would these morons be so quick to give each other dating advice that's going to guarantee an all expenses paid trip to boxed wine country?
That's a mystery.
Is your man pulling away and you don't know what the is happening? Like, you thought things were going really well, then out of nowhere he's just pulling away his energy. This is actually very common with men. But a woman doesn't understand that, and we crave more attention, more affection, and then become clingy and want his energy. And then he'll pull away even more.
Really?
The reason why that particular man is pulling away is because he's no longer interested in you, sweetheart. Most halfway decent men will typically stay by your side if they're committed to you. But judging from the vacant look on your face, you're clearly trying to explain why Chadwin R. Hemingway, big game hunter and oil tycoon, is pulling away. And the answer is simple. He's not pulling away. He's straight up leaving. He's lost interest. He has better things to do and doesn't want to spend any more time with a succubus. You desperately want him to pick you out of the vast number of better women out there, and the harder you try, the more he wants nothing to do with you. He is not backing away. He's walked out the freaking door, honey.
Men actually need the space and time away from you, not because he doesn't like you, but because he needs to restore his testosterone. But we women take that so personally and don't want to give him that space because we think he's gonna move on or blah blah.
Wrong! That's wrong!
Yeesh, the cope is strong with this one. Woman, listen to what you're saying here. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that what you said is even remotely scientifically true, which, rest assured, it most certainly isn't. How did this guy lose all of his testosterone? Did he accidentally leave it in his pockets when he did the laundry? And if you have the power to deplete this man of his testosterone to the point where he needs to get away from you in order for it to be replenished, why in the hell would he want to stay with you for more than a few rounds of rolling around in the proverbial hay? Trust me, sister, that guy has already left you and couldn't care less if you took it personally or not.
So instead, when you feel like he's pulling away, this is what you're going to do. Pull back too. Take that time for yourself. Do things you like, do things you love, work on yourself. He will come back because they always do. But you created a healthy environment for yourself not to be so stressed, just waiting for him.
Woman, we're talking about Chad. That space is not yours to give. He's gonna take it regardless of how you feel. You've served your purpose and now he's gonna go do something of actual value. But in the process of almost making a good point, you're forgetting one key thing. Even if you go off and do your own thing, you're doing it under the pretext that he's going to be coming back. You're expecting that, so no matter what you do, you will be waiting for him. And if he does come back, it won't be for long. You don't have much to offer a man like Chadwick R. Hemingway except low-effort coitus and an excuse to get away from his wife for a few hours.
The man versus bear thing was always an empathy test. And if you brought it up to a man and they started arguing with you, instead of asking you why you would choose the bear, why you and the other women would choose the bear, then he failed. He also failed the curiosity test, also failed the assumption test, all sorts of tests were failed. But most importantly, he showed you his lack of empathy. Because seriously, why did half of them act like we don't know what a bear is? Like, we know what a bear is. We know what a bear does. We know that they're dangerous. We're saying men are more so based on our personal experience. We pick the bear. Men are like, no fucking way. It's like, yeah, because you don't have the same personal experience with men that we do. It's not that fucking hard.
What?
So if I'm understanding this rambling gibberish correctly, when a woman is asked if she'd rather meet a bear or a man in the woods, a question geared specifically towards women, the answer automatically gauges a man's empathy. That really doesn't make much sense. I mean, take Blanche here, for example. She spent countless videos talking about how men are nothing but violent, psychopathic murderers who are completely worthless to society and useless to women. She goes on and on about how men are evil, stupid, and wrong, and meanie, poopy butt faces, and yet she considers herself the empathetic one. And Blanche knows what a bear is. She knows what a bear does, and for some reason, her getting mauled by a 1,000-pound animal who will eat her body without question is somehow safer than a man because, well, I'm just forced to assume she's met more than her fair share of male cannibals, apparently.
And men do this without a second thought, you know, all the time. But like the reason it's so egregious with the man versus bear thing is exactly because that answer is shocking, right? Like, you would rather choose a bear? Like, why? What happened, right? It was always designed to be that, like, question that's being asked for the shock value. The original creator said that himself, like, exactly why he started the trend is so that men would ask why. Women would pick the bear. And he was hoping that men would be curious and that it would start a conversation. And instead, men jumped straight into arguments. They jumped straight into defining the details of the hypothetical, went straight into, you know, threats and like, I hope the bear is going to protect you from other men because I won't. Like that, started citing all sorts of statistics, just got personally offended, started talking about how that affects them. But clearly they have like empathy towards themselves. This only confirmed that they have no empathy or curiosity towards women as people. It's like so offensive when you tell a man that you would choose the bear and he starts telling you like bear facts and you're like, sir, I know what a bear is. You don't have to tell me. I'm telling you, I still choose the bear. Like every single time, it's the bear.
What the hell are you talking about?
So what exactly is the point, Blanche? What response would you deem appropriate? You clearly don't want to have a conversation about this because men have clearly tried. They tried bringing up facts as to why they disagree with you in hopes of trying to get a rational explanation as to why you'd rather have a bunch of hikers finding strands of your hair in some bear poop rather than running into a man in the woods. But you don't want that. You also don't want to hear another man's opinions on the subject, nor do you want to hear about how he takes offense of you accusing him of violent crimes that he has never committed a day in his life. And you're also not interested in what the man has to say whatsoever. So what is the appropriate response, Blanche? Because it sounds to me like you just want men to grovel at your feet and apologize for making you feel like being around a grizzly bear would be a preferable option. But that just ain't gonna happen, Blanche. There are precious few people that self-respecting men will grovel to, and the last time I checked, no matter how much makeup you cake on that face of yours, you are most certainly not Alice Cooper.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
It's so funny watching them like try and wrap their heads around it. Like, no, I'm serious. And I do know what a bear is. I know what they do. I know the dangers. But I also know the dangers of men. I will take my chances with the bear. Anyways, it just kills me that the whole point of the whole damn social experiment seems so straightforward and seems so simple. And like, yeah, of course, you just ask why. Like, be curious, be empathetic, you know, try to read between the lines, and the men are like, bears are dangerous. Also, like, mansplaining that bears are dangerous is so stupid, because the point you're trying to make is like, it could be a good man, but the point I'm trying to make is it could be a koala bear. It could be a panda bear. They didn't say what kind of woods. They didn't say what kind of bear.
You're not just wrong, you're stupid. Now wait just a minute. And you're ugly, just like your mum.
Oh, Blanche, at the risk of mansplaining something to you, koalas aren't bears, you silly little creature. They are marsupials. And that's something third graders know. So you clearly don't know bears, but that's besides the point. When the subject of coming across a bear in the woods is brought up, the general consensus is that we would be terrified of seeing this massive creature that could potentially tear us apart. It is implied that the bear is a grizzly, Blanche. With that being said, there's no reason for us to be curious as to why you choose the bear, because you've made it known every chance you could whenever you relentlessly talk smack about men on your TikTok channel. I have tons of receipts, and yet somehow, regardless of all the bile that you spit, you are the empathetic one when you refuse to listen to a single word that any man has to say in response to your moronic drivel. Something tells me you needed a little bit more mansplaining in your life there, Blanche.
But you just assumed that the bear was going to be dangerous and me up. So, like, think, is anybody home? Let's just think, like, take that one step further. So you just assumed that the bear was going to be a dangerous one based on what you've seen. Anyways, it's still the bear. Grizzle, y'all. Godspeed. Mwah.
Well, Blanche, most of us have this image in our heads of when we see a bear in the woods, we immediately think danger. Why do you think people recommend carrying around a massive can of spray that's designed to deter bears from attacking you? It's not because it makes for a cool looking sidearm, Blanche, but you're so desperate to justify your contempt for the opposite sex that you'll use gibberish, swear words, and emotional outbursts to try and show that we're the unstable ones. Well, I'll tell you what, Blanche, if you think you're safer with the bears, then go live with them. Prove me and my ignorant self wrong. Maybe they'll make you part of their den. And if it turns out that you found yourself a cuddly group of bears that won't harm you, then I owe you a Coke. You have my permission to go away now.
There's the door. Why don't you check it out?
I've seen a couple TikToks lately talking about how men who go to the gym and get really ripped and buff are not seen as being very attractive towards women because these are men who are seeking the approval of other men. But the reason why I, and I'm guessing other women, are also not as attracted to these types of men is very simple and has nothing to do with psychology or sociology. And that is because I don't want to date a man who's a potential physical threat to me.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
Oh wow, you watched a TikTok video where a couple of broads said they don't find well-built men attractive because those men are going to the gym to impress other men? I guess I'm just gonna have to defer to your expertise then. You did watch a couple of TikTok videos, so you're clearly more of an expert than I ever will be when it comes to the subject of men. There is no chance in hell that desperately lonely feminists will say inflammatory things on the internet to get the attention of simps and other toxic feminists. And I, for one, am relieved that there is someone out there who is exclusively dating the malnourished weak guys, and I'm sure they'd be tripping over backwards to date you if they were willing to throw away their standards, which they're clearly not.
I'm 5'4". It would require so much physical exertion in order for me to protect myself physically against somebody, so it doesn't make any sense for me to date somebody who could hurt me and do me harm with very little effort. I also don't want to date somebody who has underlying mental health issues because, as we all know, men do not seek therapy as much as they should. So at the end of the day, it doesn't make any sense to me to date somebody who could do me physical harm and who also thinks going to the gym is a personality trait and that's what women are attracted to. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to look out for my own health and wellness and well-being.
Congratulations!
Okay, great. Then go to therapy and pay someone a queen's ransom to listen to you gripe about your problems. Has it ever occurred to you that there's men out there who don't need therapy? In fact, there's tons of men out there who lead perfectly normal, average lives that aren't weighted down with a significant amount of trauma thanks to terrible life choices. I know, that's shocking, right? Many of us actually have practical and active methods of dealing with life's many problems. And the fact that you assume that all men are prone to violence and are in desperate need of therapy says more about about your lack of emotional stability than it says about ours. But don't worry about that gym bro. He's not gonna come near you. He's got too much to do. In fact, he's got a hot date with his dentist tonight for a root canal. And I hear that date's gonna be less painless, less expensive, and a hell of a lot less of a hassle than dealing with you for 20 minutes. And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of humor is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button, ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, maybe share this video so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Keep on trucking and grinding away, gentlemen and gents. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.